Someone close to you will die. Maybe they already have. And when that happens, you will feel an overwhelming pull to do something, to gather, to speak, to mark the moment, to not simply walk away. You will feel this pull so deeply that it will seem like instinct. That is because it is. The rituals you perform around death are not modern inventions. They are not the product of religion or culture or civilization. They are something far older. Something encoded in your species before language, before cities, before anything you would recognize as human society. Start with a body. For most animals on this planet, that body is either a resource or a danger. The instinct in most creatures is to leave it, avoid it, or consume it. Your ancestors did something different. They stopped. They stayed. And what happened in that pause changed everything. The oldest confirmed burial sites push back over 100,000 years. But in 2023, paleoanthropologist Lee Berger announced something that shook that timeline completely. Deep inside the Rising Star cave system in South Africa, his team found evidence of deliberate burial by Homo naledi, a hominin with a brain roughly 1/3 the size of yours. The bodies had been placed. Engravings were found nearby. They buried their dead hundreds of thousands of years before Homo sapiens walked the earth. Think about what that means. The capacity for ritual around death does not belong only to you. Around 100,000 years ago, early Homo sapiens in what is now Israel buried their dead with red ochre and deer antlers placed deliberately around the body. Red ochre, a mineral pigment the color of blood, appears again and again in ancient burials across multiple continents. Researcher Francesco Derrico concludes its use was symbolic. Your ancestors were painting their dead. They had a concept of something beyond death. That is the leap. To bury someone with intention, you have to hold two ideas at once. The person is gone, and the person still matters. You need memory. You need identity. You need the ability to imagine others as distinct selves with an inner life. Without it, burial makes no sense. With it, walking away starts to feel deeply wrong. At a site called Songhir in Russia, dated to around 34,000 years ago, two children were buried head-to-head, covered in thousands of individually carved mammoth ivory beads. Researcher Randall White estimated it would have taken a single craftsperson roughly 10,000 hours to produce them. 10,000 hours. For a burial. For children. Your ancestors spent the equivalent of years of labor to honor the death of the young. That is not survival behavior. That is love expressed through time. The act of burial does something for the living as much as for the dead. Grief is, at its core, a social signal. It broadcasts that this person mattered. It reminds every survivor that they matter too. Groups that grieved together stayed together. They trusted each other more. They cooperated more. They survived. Your rituals of mourning are not arbitrary. They are selected. Over hundreds of thousands of years, the groups that developed ways to process collective loss outcompeted the groups that did not. The funeral is not just a social custom, it is an evolutionary adaptation. But there is a twist. Burial is also the origin of belief. To place objects beside a body, food, tools, flowers, is to imagine a destination. Somewhere the dead are going. Somewhere they might need these things. Researcher Paul Pettit argues that deliberate burial marks the earliest evidence of symbolic thought applied to death. The first moment in the fossil record where humans were imagining something beyond the physical world. Your ancestors invented the idea of an afterlife not because someone told them to. They invented it because the alternative, that the person simply stops, that love simply ends, was cognitively unbearable for a brain capable of knowing the difference. So tonight, somewhere in the world, someone is gathered around a body. They are lighting candles or incense or fires. They are saying words that have been said before, by people who said them before, stretching back in an unbroken line for 100,000 years or more. They are holding each other, and they are doing exactly what you would do. The first thing that ever truly made you human was not language. It was not fire. It was not tools. It was the moment one of your ancestors knelt beside a body and could not bring themselves to simply walk away.